Here we are in beautiful where are we? Here we are in beautiful Santa Barbara for the release of the new Harley Nightster. Now this is the new motorcycle in Harley's Sportster family of motorcycles. This has the new RevMax 975 engine, the same engine platform as the 1250 that you see in the Pan America and the new Sportster S. It's de-stroked a little bit and the bore's a little bit smaller to bring down the CCs. Now this motor is putting out 90 horsepower at 7,500 RPMs and 70 foot-pounds of torque at 5,000 RPMs. Red line is 9,500 RPMs. Now for me, I was having a blast today in the canyons and I was in second and third gear most of the time, trying to keep those RPMs from 5,500 to 7,500, where this bike loves to be. If you ride this bike a gear tall, it's gonna feel a little underpowered, but if you knock it down a gear and get the RPMs up and stay in that sweet spot, it's a whole lot of fun. It'll put a smile on your face. The power curve is super linear. Once you're above that 5,000 RPM mark, it just stays flat. The torque curve is flat and linear, and it's really, really fun. Now, one of the things you may notice right off the bat is this bike does not have the loop frame, okay? This is a new style frame for this platform. It's Harley's new modular frame. So some of the design challenges they had to keep the Sportster look is they wanted a small tank, but guess what? This isn't the tank. The tank is actually under the seat. You lift up the seat and you have a 3.1 gallon tank here. The other thing you're probably gonna notice is a radiator. That's right, this one here is liquid cooled. This bike is also running a 19-inch front tire with a 16-inch rear tire. They're wrapped in Dunlop 401s that Harley's been using for years. It's a tried and true tire. On the canyons, they felt really good. They were pretty sticky. It was a nice warm day and it felt like there was traction everywhere we went. One of the other really neat things they did with this bike, if you remember on the Sportster S, they have a monoshock in underneath here. On this one here, to stay more to the Sportster heritage, they're using dual outboard shocks. They are preload adjustable and they have 3 inches of travel, which is gonna be about a ½ inch more travel than previous Sportsters. So this bike is equipped with 3 different ride modes, rain, road, and sport. The rain mode really detunes it, and that's gonna give you full anti-lock brake front and rear and traction control. Road mode is going to give you full power setting, full traction control, and full ABS front and rear. And sport mode is also going to give you the full power and ABS, tone down traction control a little bit, and increase throttle response from road mode. I was playing around with that a lot today. It's not true. I was playing around with that a little bit today. The throttle response is night and day difference from road mode to sport mode. Sport mode is a ton of fun. On the right bar, you have your mode controls, traction control, turn on and off. You do have to be at a complete stop to turn traction control off. On your left bar, of course, now you have signals on your left bar instead of your left and your right, and then your horn, and you're flipping through the menu. The Nightster is going to be available in 3 different colors: Redline Red, Battleship Gray, and of course black, because it's a Harley. Now, no matter what colors you pick, what's going to change is the top tank cover. Your front fender, windscreen, and rear fender are going to stay black, and the tank cover is going to change depending on if you get the red, the gray, or the black. So being a I'm going to fall over. So being a taller guy, I did get a little cramped as the day went on, which is funny. I was cramped in my legs a little bit, but I was stretched in my arms. The Ryder Triangle is basically the same as any of the Iron 883s or 1200 Sportsters. It just feels a little different. And as I was riding, I was trying to figure out why, and I couldn't put my finger on it. But they do come standard with the mid-mount controls. There are different, there is a forward control option available, which is one of the really neat things. Harley wants this bike to be modular and customizable. So they're gonna have a whole line of accessories that are gonna bolt right onto this bike. They're gonna have saddlebags. It comes standard as a solo seat. They are gonna have a pylon with backrest available and numerous other options. They have already have covers here to dress up your bike, and a lot of cosmetic things like that. I'm really excited to see where the aftermarket world goes with this bike, with it being so modular and so new. It's going to be a lot of fun. Now, after riding one of these, I am really excited to get on the new Sportster S with the 1250 and see how that rides and how that engine performs against this one. All in all, this is a really great package. Having the gas tank low, having the battery low, all the weights down really low. We have aluminum fender struts, some other aluminum bits to keep the top side light. This is definitely a lot lighter than your dad's Sportster. There's no doubt about it. When you take it off the stand, it's way light. All right, here we are on the new Sportster. That's not true. Here we are on the new Nightster. Why I lost power. There we go. False neutral. Gotta look cool because they're videoing me past the ocean and the trees, and somebody was just doing big burnouts there, and that's wild. Keep it at 30. So I hit a false neutral my first click up through the gears here, but you know, new bike, new helmet, a little bit of new gear. Couple little things I noticed right off the bat. The turn signal is a reach, the horn is a reach for your thumb, and I got pretty big hands. It's still a cable operated clutch, which I'll be honest, I'm fine with that. It is nice and smooth. You got adjustable lever. Turn my signal off. And now we just look cool. Cruising down Santa Barbara. I don't know what this is, the 101. I'll be honest, my first impression of this bike is it looks amazing. Being 6'2", 6'3", bigger guy, it's funny. It's like my legs are cramped, but the reach to the bars is pretty long. And then some like just little odd things with the handlebars. You know, the horn switch, the turn signal switch and stuff is just, I don't know, it's a far reach. The bike feels a little tinny. I'm anxious to ride this alongside the Sportster S, because now this is the 975 motor. The Sportster S and the Pan American are both the 1250. This one here was bored down and stroke down, and it just feels a little anemic right off the get-go. But we're gonna go put 100 or so miles on this bike, and we're gonna see, pretty much gonna see how my opinion changes over the course of this ride. One thing I noticed as soon as I pulled out of the hotel parking lot with my feet here on the middies, I did get my foot stuck underneath the shifter when I turned to the left. We kind of have to pay attention to that a little bit and see how it goes. Okay, so I'm going to be running up this canyon, and I'm going to be keeping it in second, maybe third gear. My whole idea is I want to keep these RPMs up in the 5,500 to 8,000 range. That's where this bike really wants to be. It's a lot of fun at that range. We're getting peak power, we're getting peak horsepower, we're getting peak torque. Let's see if I can do it. This bike is a rider's bike. This bike wants your input. It wants you to be on the throttle, use the clutch, use the brakes, really push it into the corners, push it down the straightaways, and let the thing eat. If you like dragging pegs, this bike is gonna make you feel like a hero, because I think every corner I'm hitting pegs or I'm hitting boots. I'm gonna need a new pair of boots when this ride's over. Since this bike really likes to be ridden aggressively, one of my favorite features on this is the drag torque slip control. And what that does is when I come into a corner, say I'm in third gear and I want to come into the corner and get it down in a second, the drag slip control controls that power coming to the rear wheel so I don't break traction. The back end stays planted. It doesn't skid out, it doesn't get hoppy.
It just stays where it wants to. The bike will downshift, and through the corner you go. Now don't get me wrong, this bike isn't all aggressive. There are the 3 modes, so if you put it in Ray mode, it gets detuned. This bike is great for beginners. I really like the way this is set up. You can start somebody on this bike, and the bike will grow as their skills grow. I put it in sport mode up through the canyons. I'm having a blast. I'm riding this bike as aggressive as I'd ride my dirt bike through the woods, and it is so much fun. Now, if I want to put my wife on this bike, I put it down to rain mode, and she's going to have all the power she needs in order to build the confidence to get back up into one of the faster modes.
So if you are familiar with Sportsters and then you get a chance to check out the Nightster, you'll notice the difference in the weight 100% right away. This bike comes in at 481 pounds, which is 80 pounds less than the 883 or the 1200 irons. I'm just gonna walk towards the camera and close it out, I think. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for coming along. We really appreciate it. This is a fun bike. If you get a chance to ride one, absolutely take the chance. You'll have a lot of fun. Thank you.
Good.